What is up, everyone? Welcome to Optimus Fantasy Football. I am Nate Polvogt, and I am here with my co-hosts, Kevin Tompkins and Keith Flemming, for the first episode in our Q&A Friday Vibes show here on Optimus Fantasy. We're going to be here every Friday to help you guys get your lineup set, answer your questions, and just in general, just kind of talk about what's going on around the league and what to expect this weekend. Keith, Kevin, it's great to be back. It's great to have actual football. We've got one game under our belt. Kevin, did you think
it wasn't preseason? It looked like a preseason
I know,
game.
It did. Okay, so let's start here. Dallas covered the spread. It was 9.5 points going into the game.
I'm good, Nate. How are you?
I'm just kidding. I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful.
By the way, the intro, that felt like lo-fi Jamiroquai.
It did, right? Kinda. Yeah, I like it.
I know. It's a dope
Nobody under the age of 35 will get that reference, but that's okay.
It's better than my Three Stooges reference earlier.
Yeah, that one was in black and white for sure.
I heard Jamiroquai on the radio the other day. He had some cool videos.
Station.
He had that. Yeah, right. Doesn't that kind of suck now? Like you get to
it very
our
much
age,
sucks. That's why I'm so glad for like Spotify.
I know.
I don't have to listen to radio and be like, man, this station's awesome. They're like, we've got all the old hits.
Yeah, like Dipset and Chingy and 50 Cent.
Yeah, oh, man. God, 50 Cent's been around for what? 30 years now, huh? Something like
that's sad. No, it's been 20.
Well, we've lived long enough to see Snoop Dogg be the villain, become the hero, and go straight back to the villain, guys.
Let's talk about last night's game. You were getting
let's do. Well, I wanted to know, Kevin, did you think there was any chance the Cowboys were going to cover the spread last night? Like, even get within 2 touchdowns of an Eagles team that we thought was just going to blow them out of the water?
I thought they could get frisky, but honestly, Jalen Carter, the spit gate 2025 threw a wrench in that because it looked like, hey, we can run on him now. And, the bare bones of Javonte Williams decided he wanted to dust off half of his 2025 touchdown total in one night, in 2 quarters, really. So, I mean, would you be surprised? The dude had 77% raw participation, 77% snaps. I would not be shocked if that was the highest totals for both that he got this season. Yep. Like, I think that was just a good, and it didn't help that Miles Sanders had like an awesome 49-yard run and then, wasted a good surprise on him by fumbling away. So, that probably didn't. And look, and I want to talk about, I just want to talk about real quick before the Jaden Blue thing, because everybody is already writing the obituary. Everybody is already like eulogizing Jaden Blue when the thesis of that entire play was he was probably going to be he's probably going to be inactive to start the season. You're not playing for week 1. You're playing for weeks 1 through 17, maybe 18, depending on your week. So
what's the best thing for those, for Jaden Blue, if you're, that young man, is to allow Miles Sanders and those guys go out there and get as many carries as possible. And I promise you, he'll get his opportunity sooner rather than later.
The warts will show on Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. Jaden Blue has got both of them right where he wants them.
Yeah, I thought it was crazy that people are already just freaking out about him being a healthy scratch. Like you said, Kevin, guy is a rookie. And if anyone thinks, I saw some people like, Javonte's back. If Jalen Carter's in that game, Javonte Williams has 5 yards and no touchdowns. End of story.
He has 15 carries for 5 yards instead of 54.
15 carries for 5 yards. Yeah,
like a Nick Chubbian line for Javonte Williams. No, look, Devon Achane was a week 1 inactive in 2023. Like
Blue missed a lot of the preseason too. So I mean, don't forget that. Like he was banged up for I think a majority of it.
And the thing too is that Hunter Lipke is also is a running back. He was a running back at NDSU. I'm boots in the ground here. I watched the entire Hunter Lipke experience, and the dude was as Carson Steele as it gets, and not talk about fullback Carson Steele. Like he actually ran the ball and was really good at it. So he was pretty much the de facto 3rd running back. And Jaden Blue, I don't think plays special teams, so that didn't help anything that doesn't help anything. I mean, none of those guys really do. Lipke does, but Sanders and Williams don't. That doesn't really help Blue's case, as like he's not on, any of the coverage teams or anything like that. But when you look at Miles Sanders, his career trajectory since leaving Philadelphia hasn't been great. He's been a glorified third down running back. Javonte Williams, we know, isn't as sprightly and spry and as he was when he was a rookie in Denver or at North Carolina. Like we said, the warts will show eventually. We're going to see Jaden Blue eventually, and we're going to see at least something Rico Dowdle-esque from last season. I think
probably
that's a good floor projection for what Jaden Blue can bring in terms of production in the Dallas run game.
Well, and that's not bad considering his draft capital. If you can get that out of him, and as a dynasty manager, I mean, you're starting him at the end of the year, probably in a flex slot. Because everybody who play dynasty leagues are always enormous and it's stupid. Yeah. But he's a guy you're playing. Keith laughing, but it's true. We do have a question in the chat, guys. I want to get to this real quick. It is from Squid over on YouTube. If CMC is out, do I play Debo or Eckler in the flex? Keith, I'll let you start this one off.
I would have to play Eckler. I mean, I think you're going to be fine with CMC. He was practicing today, moving around, looking pretty spry. Though do not appreciate whoever it was that shared him basically saying the same thing about his calf 1 year ago today, that he did today, that it's fine and he's not worried about it. But if you had to pivot, I like Eckler. The Giants were really bad versus running backs last year, really struggled with backs out of the backfield, gave up over 4 receptions per game, over 40 yards per game. And Eckler was, I know we had all this Bill hype all season, but it was actually Eckler who's been taking the first team reps all week.
Kevin,
look, I'm not here to cross any party lines with the Bill or the big beautiful Bill or anything like that. But look, they're going to be running out 4 running backs.
Mm-hmm.
They're all going to get carries.
Yep.
So that's going to cut off a lot of the bottom line off of Eckler. And Eckler might be like the week, the first snap guy, but they're going to rotate between Jeremy McNichols and Chris Rodriguez and all these, and Bill might get a handful of carries.
Week 1, you're playing a Giants team that has, I think, going to be maybe a top 5 pass rush. And I do think that they're going to have to run the ball, and he's going to have to get rid of the ball quickly. So I do think that it's just for his volume in the passing game. I mean, the guy had basically 4 receptions in every game that he played last year.
But what if Debo gets 8 for 68 and a touchdown? Like, Debo was hurt a lot of last season. Now Washington brings him in as probably the second target in that offense. We know how badly Jaden Daniels, I mean, yeah, he had Zach Ertz and still has Zach Ertz, but I think Debo has a lot more left in the tank to be like a manufactured touch guy, where I think that could even take some stuff off of Eckler's plate as well, being a shorter yardage guy. Like, let Debo be a 7 to 8 yard ADOT guy where you can get him behind the line of scrimmage and then get him out for some yak opportunities, where that's something that really wasn't available to the Commanders last season that can add another dimension to their offense. And I think Debo, considering how hurt he was last season, clean bill of health this year. Yeah, I know he's like 29, 30 years old, but I do think that they brought him in for a specific purpose. They have McLaurin in the in-house now with contract. I'm taking Debo here. I'm not, totally on board with like the full bounce back, but I think a ceiling of like 100 targets is in play.
I'd still go Eckler though. I just think he's more reliable. You know what you're going to get with Austin Eckler, to Keith's point, every game. I don't know what we're going to see Debo do. I'm not saying I won't be willing to start him down the line if I have to, but what if they just don't use him? What if it's like, yeah, he's out there, but he's not getting targeted. Those targets are still going to Ertz and they're still going to McLaurin, and they just simply don't use Debo. I don't want to take that risk because I know that Austin Eckler is going to get those targets, but that's just me. I still think CMC.
Have to worry about it. Yeah,
I don't think so either. No, I
They
think he's
already
gonna
have enough
play.
guys that they don't use, like Noah Brown and Luke McCaffrey. Like, let those guys be the guys you don't use. Where Debo you brought in for a specific purpose via trade.
You're saying
And
don't
that's
waste
fair.
the good surprise on Noah Brown and those guys?
I respect your opinion. You know, I may not agree with your opinion, but I respect your right as an American to say it.
I missed this show, guys. Back to last night. I think it's interesting. Jalen Hurts, 24 fantasy points. Dak Prescott on the team that almost pulled off the upset only logged 7.8 fantasy points. And that's without Jalen Carter, thanks to Spitgate. Keith, do you think that Dallas and Dak can have is this what Dak is? I guess is what I want to ask. Is this what Dak Prescott is this season, or do you expect him to play a little bit better moving forward?
I mean, I hope he does, because Dallas just basically made the decision that we're going to trade a 26-year-old best edge rusher in the game to pay a wide receiver quarterback who have won nothing. So they better hope he does. I was very discouraged. Like, I heard a lot of people saying the Cowboys almost beat the Eagles. They lost 2 defenders on the first play, one of them being like probably one of the top 5 guys in the league that just disrupts the game with his size and strength, like Jalen Carter. And Philly didn't even throw the ball, and they still, kind of controlled the game. So I do think better times are ahead. And I think actually where Dak is going to thrive in this Cowboys is I think they're going to get beat in quite a few games by a lot. And those are going to be the games that he really puts up points, right? Because they're not going to be running it so much with Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders.
Yeah. Like that, honestly, from like the eye test and like watching Dak, he looked good. Like he's obviously hamstrung by, the secondary narrative of last night's game, which was Dropgate 2025.
Good God.
Two in a row.
It would really help for that CeeDee Lamb guy to complete the catch. If he can do that, I think they'll be on to something. But I think Dak looked pretty good. Like he looked better than a lot of quarterbacks. Him healthy with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson are going to be fine. They happen to be playing like the most talented defense in the National Football League, and that was even without Jalen Carter. So I'm not worried about Dallas in terms of like team context. Yeah, they're probably going to be a 6-7 win team, and great. That's great for fantasy.
That's great for CeeDee Lamb owners and Dak owners.
We want 600 team pass attempts. We want, and I've been saying this all along about the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're an arbitrage version of as far as how condensed they are to the Eagles, where you have your 2 wide receivers and your tight end. They use Turpin quite a bit, and I think Turpin could be, I think eventually he could be like one of those break glass in case of emergency flex plays, but more than like they don't really use Tolbert. They obviously cut Jalen Brooks. They throw to Schoonmaker once in a while, but it's the concentrated offense between the top 3 pass catchers that's absolutely there. So like Dallas is fine. They get to play the Eagles twice, and we're gonna first take, all of these things. I'll play the role of Shannon Sharp if I have to, Shadow. But yeah, they're fine.
Who's going to do the Ryan Clark and tell Peter Schrager, who I think is actually one of the more knowledgeable guys, in that business, that, you don't get an opinion because you didn't play ball. I get so sick of hearing that kind of crap. And that's literally what he said.
That kind of crap.
It's literally what he said to him on air. And he goes, I'm not trying to call you up. I probably should have had this on air, and then proceeded to say that. I was just like, what a dick.
Welcome to ESPN.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it's turned into. We've got a couple of questions in the chat here. We're going to pop into that. We've got Dennis Rodriguez, guys. He says he's having a hard time trusting Stephon Diggs to start as a flex this weekend. Should he even bother putting him in his lineup this weekend? Keith?
I mean, I'd always like to know the other options when I hear something like that. But I think the Patriots are going to get off to a good start. I actually think that game's going to be kind of a low-key shootout now that it looks like
Mhm.
Christian Gonzalez is definitely going to miss, which that Patriots defense is totally different when they don't have that guy. So, I mean, I think Diggs will be fine, but there might be, again, like with you not knowing so much about that offense and like, his snaps and route participation, all that stuff. I would like to see a sample size if you have an option that you feel like you know a little bit more about.
Yeah, like, do I want to watch Stephon Diggs go up against Packers flameout Eric Stokes? Yeah, like, give me. I think he could be a top 24 wide receiver. Obviously, you didn't draft him as such, but as long as Diggs is upright and starting, and is Drake May's probably first read in that offense, like.
Mhm.
I'm about it. That's that game, Patriots Raiders and Carolina and Jacksonville. Those are like the two games that I'm actually excited to watch this weekend in terms of the guys that are involved, the questions I have about utilization. Yeah, those two games are like the guy, you look at the national schedule. Like, I don't know if you guys go on like 506 Sports on Wednesdays to look at the coverage maps. Like, cool, thanks. We get to watch the Giants and the whole country gets to watch Giants, Commanders, and Jets, Steelers. Like, yippee-ki-yay. Can't wait.
I get the Falcons Bucks, so I'll be okay.
I just watch Red Zone all day, even if it's going to have a few commercials.
I was going to say, you get all the Verizon commercials you want.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'd still rather watch it Red Zone way.
The NFL did it, by the way. Everybody's like dog cussing ESPN, of course.
It wasn't ESPN's fault.
Commercials aren't bad.
Yeah.
Well, commercials suck, but
what are you talking about?
What? You know what I do? I enjoy all of the prescription medication commercials at night when we're watching like Hulu or Peacock. It's like all it is. Speaking of prescriptions, Isaiah Pacheco needed one last season. He's back. He's healthy. Kyle Clare wants to know. Well, Pacheco was stop it. All right, Kevin. I was just trying to.
Najee needs the prescription. That dude needs to go to.
No, Najee needs an eye patch. He's a pirate. All right, Kyle Clare, start Pacheco or Trey Henderson this week. He's got Sutton and Ricky Pearsall in the flex. So it looks like this is just a running back only start. Kevin, which one are you starting, Pacheco or Trey Henderson?
You're asking the ideological drafter who he would rather start between Trevion Henderson and Isaiah Pacheco. Like, you guys even know me at all?
I do, but I had to ask the question, Kevin.
I'm probably. I mean, if your starting team is strong, like if your starting roster is strong and you can swallow some of the upside, even the upside doesn't hit. Like if you don't get the full on Chubb from Hendo, like I'm fine starting him. If you need a floor play, it's Isaiah Pacheco. But the devil may care, I throw caution to the wind, will be starting Trevion Henderson. And I can't wait until he scores his first double-digit fantasy point outing in Week 12. But I will still be a slap.
Great. First and only of the season, probably. Keith, where are you going with this one?
Oh, no, I'm going Henderson, too. It's also not a great matchup for the Chiefs running backs. Like, that's a pretty decent run defense that they're playing to where the Raiders are awful versus the run, and they really struggled giving up, again, receptions to running backs last year. And me and Kev will talk about it tonight on Fantasy Six Pack, but I know I really like the Drake May, Trevion Henderson stack on DK, which is like only like 11K this week.
That's really not bad. That is a good stack, too. I'm with you. I'd start Trevion Henderson here. Pacheco's a safe floor play, but I want that jazz with Trey Henderson.
You don't draft a guy in the third round to sit him for Isaiah Pacheco. I'll say
no, you don't. We've got Adam M in the chat. We made it to Friday. Yes, we did. Just barely. Non-PPR 10-team league. He wants to know, should he drop Austin Eckler for Brian Robinson? Looking more long-term. I don't have to start either of them this week. Thanks. Keith, are you dropping Austin Eckler for Brian Robinson?
I mean, yeah, I guess I would. Just because, I mean, I think that Will Shipley and Brian Robinson were like the two handcuffs that a week ago I was telling everybody to get. And Shipley was just because Barkley blew by, that like 376 touch number last year, and just again, amazing offensive line. And it's kind of same deal for Brian Robinson. Like nobody knows how to run the ball like Shanahan. It seems like no matter what scrub he puts back there, it's like next thing you know, it's like, oh, he's got 110 yards and a touchdown. Now can he stay
And Robinson
healthy?
is a scrub.
Oh, I agree. But don't you think that with all the injuries they've already had, to their back, I think they've already lost 2 other running backs for the season. If you're looking for just a long-term stash and hope something turns of it, I think that Robinson's a play, because I do like Eckler slightly more than Debo this week. But overall, it's what Kevin was saying. There's too many cooks in the kitchen, right? Like in Washington, for me to feel safe with any of them, holding on, hoping, they end up being the guy.
Yeah, I'd be Rob over Eckler as well. Any benefit that you would get from Austin Eckler is completely negated in non-PPR. So, I mean, I don't think that there's going to be any groundwork for Austin Eckler that can compete with a lot of the running backs there. He's no better than an upside handcuff at that point, and that's pretty much what Brian Robinson is. Like, Brian Robinson's not great, but he's probably, if he's going to be getting some look, CMC, I faded him almost the entire way, and I feel slightly validated in that now. But now, Isaac Guerendo, we were drafted, and now it's like the next man up is B-Rob. And I think B-Rob and Guerendo are a bit, about on an equal plane, I would say. Maybe B-Rob is a better runner of the football, but Guerendo is better like receiving chops. So it's like ultimately a wash. It's ultimately a wash, but and that and especially not PPR, like you're gonna get everything on the ground. You're not have to worry about the receiving aspect so much. Obviously, you're getting the yards, but yeah, give me B-Rob. I think he's perfectly fine there, and Eckler is droppable.
Yep, I concur. We're going to move on to this one from Kyle Siebert Audio. Start 2, Shakir, Coleman, Myers, or Ollie Gordon. I'm just going to say right now, we're not starting Ollie Gordon this week, right? Like, there's no reason.
My 0 RB teams are not that bad, that hard up to start Ollie Gordon in week 1.
So there's a test sample right there. So if Kevin's saying no, then you shouldn't.
Yeah, to me, it's Shakir and Myers. I think you can make a case for Keon Coleman, but again, we're too many mouths to feed in that Buffalo offense where you got to hope the dude hits in like a 60-yard. Like he is our generation's Gabe Davis right now. Which is funny because now he's got the mentor Gabe Davis on the practice squad to help work with him. But no, it's Shakir and Myers for me.
Gonzalez being out, Myers could end up having a really big first week. Like, don't forget, Jacoby Myers can sling that rock, man. I mean, Geno can, and I do think that that's a big upside play for Jacoby. We're going to again talk about him tonight. For some DFS lines. He's a great value, but too.
Is he going to see Dante Thornton though? Because Cooper's retired. Myers is in the slot. That's probably whoever's on the outside. That's probably who plays inside for the Patriots. I don't even know. But Gonzalez, I don't know if he follows or would shadow.
I'm saying that they've pretty much ruled him out. Like they're saying now he may.
Oh, he is out. I just looked at that. I do worry a little bit about Will Campbell being questionable too, but I think he's probably going to still play.
Yeah,
that's what I worry about too. Now that Drake May has his blindside protector and Will Campbell, like
with T-Rex arms,
more than any other thing that you could add to that offense. Travion Henderson's awesome, and we like Kyle Williams as a sleeper too, and all these other guys. Sure. It's gonna hinge on Will Campbell being the guy that solidifies everything for Drake May. So
what started the Lions rebuild and really getting them going? Sewell, right?
Sewell,
the sexy pick in that draft, and he's arguably the best player.
Yep.
All right, Vince Mapson wants to know what's with these 49ers running back injuries. Do they practice on rollerblades or something? It feels like it. I don't know. What I'll say is I remember growing up in Denver, and Mike Shanahan had a very similar system in Denver in the late 90s and early 2000s where a cell phone salesman, literally ran for 1,000 yards one season after retiring.
Which one was
for a
that? Do you
season.
know?
Is that Alandis Gary?
This Tatum Bell.
Tatum Bell. God, Alandis Gary though. God,
He and I worked
Gary had 1,000 yards, I think.
Alandis Mike Anderson had 1,000 yards. He was a 28-year-old rookie.
Mike Bell might have too.
Mike Bell had 1,000 yards in that offense. That's the thing, and that's the Shanahan family system. Yeah, number 38, Mike Anderson.
There's literally that Shanahan like tree of mid 2000s running backs was like.
Well, it was really from 96.
Yeah, but I think he's saying even
Davis,
when he was in Washington, it was the same deal too.
It was.
Well, because they had Clinton Portis and Liddell Betts and Roy.
He only had Portis for a season, though. He traded Portis away.
Straight up for Champ Bailey.
Yeah. Very nice man, that Champ Bailey, by the way.
So the list of Mike Shanahan 1,000 rushers: Terrell Davis, Alandis Gary, Mike Anderson, Clinton Portis, Reuben Drones, Tatum Bell, Alfred Morse.
Yeah. Tatum Bell played for the Broncos. Took a season off. He got cut. Stayed in Denver. Worked at a T-Mobile store.
Awesome.
Went back the next season and ran for 1,000 yards. But here's the thing: is it wasn't necessarily all Mike Shanahan. It was Alex Gibbs, their offensive line coach.
Mm-hmm.
Those lines with Gary Zimmerman and Mark Schlereth. Those guys. Those were beasts.
Tommy Nalen.
Yeah, their center. I mean, those dudes were all huge. They were 350. 400-pound guys, which San Francisco, I mean, similar. They've got some big dudes on the line. So we've got
Bell, by the way, famously 98 speed in Madden. I only remember that because that was when I did play competitively, and I used Jake Plummer and Ashley Lilly was
Lilly. Who was the number one receiver on that team?
Ashley Lilly,
Rod Smith,
Smith.
Okay.
They had Tony Scheffler at tight end too. Nate Jackson, who actually wrote a book about being the third string Broncos tight end. It's called it's a really good book. It's called Getting Up.
He's on the radio here a lot. Nate Jackson's a good dude. Real knowledgeable too.
He was a second tight end in Madden, and he had 88 speed. I remember that specifically because he couldn't catch for shit in that game, but he beat every single linebacker.
Yeah, well, need to get better hands. We've got Lucius Vornis 44 here. Would you start Mahomes tonight or Knicks this weekend? Half PPR. Thanks in advance. Kevin, are you starting Mahomes or are you starting Knicks in half PPR? Not that really matters in this situation.
I'm starting Knicks. That game.
I'm starting Knicks too.
Yeah, I think Denver could put up some stuff on Tennessee and then kind of pack it in a little bit. I think Mahomes is he's either gonna have to hit the nut outcome on big plays against the Chargers, or that game is gonna be a slog.
Yep,
it's gonna be a slog.
I think it's gonna be a slog. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm starting Knicks. I don't know, man. I'm kind of done with Mahomes in fantasy. I haven't been drafting him. My brother-in-law took him first overall in our home league draft on Wednesday. So I don't know, values are different everywhere.
I think when Rice gets back, you may see some vintage Mahomes because it really will be the best core of weapons he's had in a long time. And everything I've heard, Peter Schrager was actually on Bill Simmons' podcast earlier this week talking about Mahomes is pissed. He does not like hearing everybody talk about Lamar and Allen and Andy Reid has promised that they're going to let them kind of open up the playbook and him actually throw the ball down the field a little bit more in the regular season.
Well, you could make the argument too with this whole revolution with defenses and the two high safeties, the cover two shells have affected no quarterback more than Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, he's probably pissed, but now you're hoping that you can get, the JMO last year to happen to Xavier Worthy this year. And the reason they drafted Jalen Royals, he's almost a Rashee Rice clone, as far as a shorter A-dot slant merchant that, can have some yak ability. That's how they're talking him up, though.
No, it's the slant merchant was what I was I'm stealing that.
I mean, 100%. He learned from learned from Rashee Rice. He learned from Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, you've got all those guys in-house there, but if you could hit on some of that and still get by with, podcaster Travis Kelce at tight end. When Rashee Rice gets back in week 7, I think you're cooking with gas. And I still think there's hope for Patrick Mahomes as far as, you know what we are in? We're in the mid-stage Tom Brady era where
that might be fair.
He didn't give a shit if he threw 26 touchdowns when they're still winning games. So, if they're in more games, which look, they were in games last year too. They
lost 2 games all year.
When you look at baseball has the Pythagorean record where you're looking at teams that probably won games that they shouldn't have or lost games that they should have won. I would venture to guess that Kansas City probably was like a 9-8 team that masqueraded as a 13-14 win team last year. So if you see variance go the other way, you could see some passing volume out of Kansas City. And that's almost the entire thesis of the play. If you can get Kansas City to up their team pass attempts, if you can get them more on their heels versus playing kind of downhill, which they're totally happy to do. I mean, granted, they didn't have much of a run game last year with Kareem Hunt, and they were trying to find something with Isaiah Pacheco when he came back, and Pacheco wasn't even that good. I mean, if you can find something with the run game, find something that they can just start passing a little bit more. Mahomes is perfectly fine. We know he's capable of it, obviously. It's just a matter of Kansas City getting into the situation where that's an option to get their offense going.
And he rarely runs in non-playoff games. If you look over the last 2 years, he's basically, I'm sure he's talked about that with Andy Reid, but he's not going to run unless it's a very important game or a playoff game to where Bo Nix will be running all over the place. And, I pivoted that a couple of years ago and keep getting further and further entrenched in it. That if my quarterback doesn't run significantly, I don't want him. I just think that there's so much value. You're getting 3 times the points.
Yeah. Yep. I'm absolutely starting Nix. Everything you said about Patrick Mahomes, I agree. We're going to move on to Seth here. Pacheco, Pollard, or Kyren at running back for Seth in a vacuum. I'd probably go, well, I wouldn't probably go. I'd definitely start Kyren Williams this week over those other 2. Keith?
It's Kyren for me. They're going up against Houston. That's not a great defense, but also Pollard's going up against Denver too. And then obviously Pacheco, we just talked about, going up against the Chargers. I'll just take Kyren with that offense as far as the Rams. I mean, in being able to put up points through the air as well, and then getting into those green zone touches. That's like the Kyren zone right there, because obviously Matthew Stafford is not taking a bootleg unless he wants to pull that Peyton Manning play from 2015.
Yeah.
But that's the Kyren zone.
I'm going Pollard. I think the Texans are going to lay the smackdown on the Rams. The last 14 games last year, 41 sacks, 34 forced.
You mean on the Broncos?
Huh?
On the Broncos, you mean? You said the Rams.
No, I'm talking about, that's why I don't want Kyren. It's I think the Texans are going to destroy the Rams. Seriously, I think.
Destroy?
Yes, I think that.
Wow.
Okay, you got Stafford, who has been banged up all offseason. I just can't see Sean McVay going out there and taking any kind of aggressive play calling against this Texans pass rush. And they're also very good versus the run. I think the Texans are going to be the best defense in the NFL this year. And Denver is a very good defense as well, but you can run on them a little bit. With Denver, it's really, they lock you down, obviously with the shutdown corner, but I just think that
game script can allow that though. That's what I worry about.
Well, I mean, but I think that he had the highest target rate among all running backs last year as well. Pollard did. So I think if they get down, that's also a good thing potentially for him. I mean, to be honest, I don't love any of these options because they all have difficult matchups. I really do. I'm shocked that the Rams are favored with everything going on. Their left tackle, Like, I know he's going to play, but he's basically not practiced all summer. Matthew Stafford has, not really practiced the last week or two. And I think this Texans defense is going to be so good that I think they may go in there and beat the brakes off of the Rams. And that could end up meaning, what's your boy that you kept telling me to draft earlier this year? The Rams speedster running back that they drafted, Kev. Is it
Jarvis Hunter?
Hunter, yeah,
Chris
that
Hunter.
you could see him getting involved, that kind of deal. But I totally get the Kyron thing, but I have a feeling the Texans are going to roll, and I'd rather have Pollard because I think he's just going to get more opportunities.
I'm just team never Pollard. I'm going to start literally anybody else with a pulse that will score fantasy points over Tony Pollard. And I like Kyron Williams because he's been a top 10 running back the last 2 seasons. There's nothing to indicate Jarquez Hunter isn't going to take his volume. What's to indicate he's going to do any worse than a top 10 finish this year? Nothing.
Especially right, but I'm not talking about this season. I'm talking about this week.
He's a guy that I'll play every week. I think that's the talent level of a guy like Kyron Williams, in my opinion. But
that's fair.
I mean, I will just say to your Tony Pollard point, there's a lot to like as far as Tennessee goes, where I think the Brian Callahan is starting to get his guys, and now he has Cam Ward in there. That offense is probably going to be
upgrade.
More pass heavy than we've seen in some time with Tennessee. And now, trust me, I don't like it either, but Calvin Ridley is probably ticketed for 140 targets. Alec Eomanor, has looked great this offseason.
He's good.
Okonkwo is a sleeper. And I think a lot of that passing game optimism can also trickle down to the run game with Tony Pollard too, where Tajay Spears is on IR designated return. He's not going to play for 4 weeks. So we're looking at Julius Chestnut. And those guys, Tony Pollard has 75% routes and 75% snaps written all over him, with probably 85% of the running back touches in that offense. So I think that's he has a Kyrenian split when it comes to the workload. Tony Pollard does. So I'm bullish because and all their prices on draft day were so cheap as far as Titans.
I took a lot of Pollard and Ridley. A lot.
I took a lot of Cam Ward, especially best ball.
Yeah,
I had Cam Ward was one of the best picks on the board. Easy to stack. I mean, it's easy to ignore, real estate agent Tyler Lockett, and Van Jefferson. Those it's easy to ignore those guys. Yeah. So it's easy. And Okonkwo was stupid cheap. And Alec Eomanor was a last round pick. Those guys, you could build out a Titan stack. Costs you nothing. Who knows? You might get a league average team pass attempt. You might get some passing volume there. I wouldn't sleep on the Titans. I think they're going to be a more competent passing game than we've seen in some time since Ryan Tannehill was quarterback.
I was going to say Aaron McNair.
Yeah, that's probably
that's the one thing. It's you got to hope Ward does it in the passing game because he's not going to run the ball.
No,
he doesn't run at all.
He is basically Ben Roethlisberger. That's what you're hoping for.
No, I know, it's just funny.
That's true though. All right, we've got Demetrius in the chat. He wants to know if he should start Stephon Diggs or Zay Flowers this weekend. I am straight up going Stephon Diggs over Zay Flowers. Keith?
People hate Zay Flowers, I swear.
I was going to say,
I don't.
I thought Flowers was a great value all this summer as well. I actually took him in my last auction draft that I did on Wednesday. I would rather have Flowers. I think that's going to be an absolute barn burner where they're going up and down the field, points galore. And he is their receiver. I mean, if you really look at it, I know Mark Andrews scored a bunch of touchdowns down the stretch, but the games that Flowers played last year, he had a lot of 8 to 10 target games. I think that he's going to return right to it. And I just would like to see on somebody like Diggs. Like, I don't get me wrong. In 2 weeks, I might be saying I'd start Diggs like for sure over, Zay Flowers. But week 1, knowing what I know, I'd slightly lean Flowers.
Yeah, I think I'm like pretty solidly Flowers over Diggs. But yeah, it's week 1. We, like Keith said, we could change our tune pretty quickly.
Yep.
But there's so much target. Actually, I shouldn't really say that because it's like it feels like they should have a lot of target competition, but the Ravens really don't, because you've got Mark Andrews there, but he's more touchdown dependent than ever. They brought in DeAndre Hopkins, who I don't think is going to be earning anything close to even the last couple seasons. So I think Zay Flowers is going to be the way they operate in the passing game. We know Zay Flowers has been over a 2 yards per route run guy the last 2 seasons. With Lamar Jackson, the most efficient quarterback in the league, we know Baltimore's going to score a ton. And what's the one thing we talk about that has the highest variance among any pass catcher that Zay Flowers has had an issue with? That's like his main issue, scoring touchdowns. Like, I don't get why we say that, he doesn't have the ability to score touchdowns when, we see some variance break out and he gets 6 to 7, maybe even 8, along with, what he's done in his career. Like, the dude, what did he have last year?
I think he had 4 or 5, basically. Yeah.
A bankable 70 catch, 1,000 yard guy that if you saw him get 7 to 8 touchdowns, he's a high 3rd round pick next year. 9th
in design targets per game last year. And he was 18th in target share among all wide receivers.
I think he's universally slept on.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, I was shocked how late I could get him in like the last couple of drafts I did, because I thought that maybe
he would go into the sometimes.
Yeah.
Nate, you're muted, buddy.
Either that,
all right, guys, we're gonna
really
move
good
on.
mime impersonation.
I'm a really good mime. It's just I just wanted to see if you guys were paying attention. Jonathan Santiago's got this question in the YouTube chat. What's up, guys? Would you flex JMO or Pacheco? PPR, running backs are Barkley and Connor. Wide receivers are T. Higgins and Drake London. Thinks Pacheco is safer, but I don't want to miss a 30 bomb from JMO. They're stressed out about this one. Let's help them get unstressed. Kevin, which one are you starting, JMO or Pacheco?
JMO. Against the Packers secondary, that's not honestly, they're not great. Like,
no, they're not at all.
No, Keyshawn Nixon.
He's a Packers fan,
Hobbs,
so that's saying something, right? Like, if you're a home fan to say that,
yeah. Like the cornerback position is the weakest spot for the Packers on that whole deal. It's a good defense. They added, some guy. I don't know if you heard of him, Micah Parsons, in the last week or so.
Sounds familiar.
He's over the hill though. He's 26.
Former State Farm agent.
Maybe he'll finally break out in Green Bay.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I would go JMO. I would go JMO there, even like a JMO floor game of like, 5 for 80 is like great. I
still
think
might be better than what you get out of Pacheco.
And you're talking also a game that has what's the over under? I think I want to say it's 46 or 47 points.
You want a Detroit game? Right.
Yeah. Packers
6.5.
At Lambeau. Yeah. I think that game is going to be very, very nice for fantasy managers who have your Jahmyr Gibbs, your JMOs, your Amon-Ra St. Browns, your Matthew Goldens as well too. So give me JMO there. I think you're going to see, I don't know if you're going to get a 30 burger, but look, that 20 to 25 burger fries up pretty nice too.
Sure, I think it's the JMO breakout year, and I don't think you have much to worry about, to be honest, Jonathan, because freaking Connor versus New Orleans, Drake London, who is in home games versus Tampa, had at least 6 for 120 in every home game versus Tampa for his career, and then T. Higgins versus Cleveland. Like, you're going to be feasting.
By the way, Matt Harmon's overall wide receiver 1, Drake London, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants us to know, guys, he also has Calvin Ridley, but he's benching him. He's scared he's going to be up against Pat Surtain. Is that valid?
I agree with that. I've been saying that, like, I like Ridley a lot this year, just not week 1.
Yep. Seth says, thanks, guys. Got one more for us. Think it's a big game for Kelsey tonight, or should he start the rookie in Indy, Tyler Warren?
I'm a bit hesitant on Tyler Warren, and that might be my bias on Warren as a player. I'm growing more into maybe the Colts are actually going to play him, unlike how they've played their tight ends the last couple seasons. But I'm also very worried about Kelsey and how, like, just his mobility, because he is very Zach Ertz-Gerald in the way that he catches and falls. That dude hasn't had a yard of yak since the Clinton administration.
He's in fucking playoff form. I said midseason form. This dude's in playoff form.
What's he got to play for?
I'm talking about you. You're just killing me with some of these references of sayings and stuff. It's amazing.
Look,
like how you do
Kelsey
this
got the girl. Kelsey got the girl. What's Kelsey playing for besides what's that Manscaped at sponsorship? What's he playing for?
He's trying to keep viewers. He's trying to get more viewers for that little podcast he does that no one really knows about.
I think that I'm going Kelsey here because with Rice out, they just need him. Like if you look in the games, Rice misses, his targets go up, and this is Warren's first start, right? Like again, with these unknowns, if I have somebody like Kelsey, who I agree with Kevin, there's real concerns about, like, is this guy kind of washed? But he's going to get targets, right? And week one, I'll take that, especially when the Dolphins, you can hurt them in a lot of ways. Actually, tight end was not one of them last year.
Yep. Yeah. All right, we're going to move on to this one here. This is the last one we're going to take before we've got two more to take before we get out of here. Patty over on YouTube wants to know, in a PPR league, are you starting Emeka Egbuka or Cortland Sutton? And then at tight end, Mark Andrews or Evan Ingram? Keith, we'll start with you. Are you going Egbuka or Sutton here?
Egbuka. The Falcons secondary is still trash. I have hopes for the defense to get better, but come on, man. No Godwin in a dome. Like, I think that Falcons Bucks game is going to get frisky, and I think Emeka is going to make me regret not taking him a bunch early this year before, obviously McMillan got hurt and everything else happened, because I just didn't think he was going to play a ton.
Yeah, Kevin?
It hurt. Because I want to say Sutton, but like L'Jarius Sneed is not a bad corner. Like if he follows Sutton,
it seems like he's going to.
Yeah, that could be not great for him. So I do like some of the other ancillary pieces there in Denver. Like this could probably be an Evan Engram game, or who between Troy Franklin and some of these other guys, or it could be RJ Harvey. My personal bias would like RJ Harvey for sure. I would take a Egbuka though. That game's gonna be fun. So I think so, I'm all about that. Yeah, I downgrade Sutton just because of L'Jarius Sneed and how that's a possible situation where he could get some bracket coverage.
Or knowing gets that big right too is the other
right concern. That could also affect things where if Denver is on cruise control, if Tennessee just gets into a hole and can't climb out of it. Yep.
All right, we're gonna hit this one here. We've got Jonathan Santiago. What's your guys' thoughts on Drake May and Michael Penix this year? Sold on QBs in Superflex League, ended up with both of them.
Well, luckily you're in the great spot to talk about Drake May with plenty of pro Drake May propaganda on these areas.
I like Drake May. I like Drake May in this offense. I think Drake May is a really good quarterback, and I think that New England's built tools around him to win. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I don't believe in Michael Penix as much.
Just like Optimus Fantasy has built tools to help you guys out too.
Yeah, exactly. It's what
Drake
we do. 50% off this weekend on your first month.
Yeah, I really believe that. Like, I think he's going to run even more. If you look at like what he did last year, he'd have been third in rushing yards if you take his totals for 11 games and put him over an entire season. And I didn't know this. He threw a touchdown pass in his last 9 starts, which that is, with crap At receiver, not a very good offensive line and a bad coaching staff. Like he's got an upgrade on all of those. And that's why I'm saying I see so many parallels to Daniels, where now you have an adult in the room on the coaching staff. They've kind of fixed a little bit of the offensive line. They got him some weapons in the draft. Like I could really see May having a monster year, and they have a pretty easy schedule.
Yep. Michael Penix, not so much am I sold on. I need to see what he can do with Drake London and Kyle Pitts.
He's not going to run, like for sure. And you're going to see
he doesn't run.
Bijan, you know, like volume. So it just depends on how many passing touchdowns he throws and how much they let him rip, because I want the Falcons to make the playoffs. We had a winning record, and I think it's like 6 years now, or 6 or 7. Yeah. Give Bijan the damn ball, okay? I'd still rather have Carter than Bijan, but just give him the damn ball.
What I will add about Drake May is that I believe their offensive coordinator was Alex Van-Pelt last season. He did not design any runs for Drake May. I think we're going to see a lot more design stuff for Drake May to take advantage of a lot of his gifts. So I do think that we can see a spike, and I wouldn't be shocked if Drake May ends the season with 35 to 3750 through the air and about 700 on the ground. I would not be shocked.
No, it wouldn't shock me either. All right, last one, guys, and we are really for real getting out of here. We've got my name Queso from Twitch. Worthy or JSN for a flex spot? It's half PPR. I'm going to go with what I've been saying all week, is that I'm not really excited to start Xavier Worthy any week this season. He's a guy who needs a big boom play to really be fantasy relevant. I'm going JSN here.
I would slightly lean Worthy this week. Again, I'm very high on JSN this year, but I just said I want to see something out of that offense, because if the Niners last year really struggled against the run, one thing we know Seattle has is 2, I think, really good running backs in Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet. So I could see them running the ball a little bit more, to where I do think the Chiefs are going to have to throw to win this game, versus the Chargers. So I would slightly lean Worthy. And he did get a lot better down the stretch, at least in him getting consistent targets. I'm with you, Nate, that if he doesn't hit like a big play, he typically doesn't put up like big stat lines, but he at least was getting consistent volume by the end of the season, where it's like 6-7 targets most games.
It's sure. So it's funny, the dichotomy of between the three of us, because obviously Nate is on the right wing side of Xavier Worthy. Keith is the moderate here. But I am the full slappy on Xavier Worthy. And as someone who is not, ignore the JSN jersey I have literally right here. I'm not a big fan of JSN, just because I'm not a big fan of the Seattle offense in general.
Sure.
This season, I think there's too many questions there. I think that JSN is a profile of a volume dependent wide receiver that does have some juice, but I think he's drafted way too high. I think he should have been in like a 5th round guy, where he reminds you of Deontay Johnson, where you had to draft. If you're trying to get 140 targets, I think you can do that more efficiently later in the draft versus
Calvin Ridley
at the beginning of the 3rd. Yeah. But Xavier Worthy, if he can barbell his production, and by that I mean getting short stuff, manufactured stuff, and then getting the explosives downfield, I think that's going to be, that's that's JMO. Isn't that basically JMO?
Not quite as good, I think, after the catch.
I do think JMO's a little better, but it's the bet is directional.
No, I think it's a fair comparison. I just mean that, like, JMO, I still think is elite after the catch, to where Worthy is one of those guys. He's more shifty. JMO will just, it's just hard to bring down for guys.
If you take the wrong angle on Worthy, good luck.
Yeah, no chance. What was it, like a 4-2-1? That's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that does it for us on this wonderful Week 1 NFL Friday. I want to thank everyone who tuned in today. It's been a blast. Keith, Kevin, getting to hang out, talk football again. I've missed doing this with you guys a lot. We will be back next Friday, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And while you're here, go check out our Discord. The link is in the show description. If we weren't able to get to your question, you're watching this after we aired live, or you're listening to the audio version, we can answer your questions there. We have a whole dedicated team of people there to help you get through this weekend. Also, go check out our tools, tools.optimusfantasy.com. It's a lot of data and a lot of help to help you set those lineups. This weekend only, use the code WEEK1 when you sign up, and you'll get 50% off your first week of any package. For Keith Flemming, for Kevin Tompkins, I am Nate Polvogt. Guys, it has been a pleasure. Good luck this weekend. We'll see you Sunday morning for Start